Hi, everybody. My name is David Pipe. I'm a local mortgage agent based here in Guelph, and I'm here with my co host Rob Kent, who is a local realtor. And today we want to talk about some reasons why you might or might not want to consider buying a home in Guelph. Everyone looking to buy real estate is considering different areas around Ontario. Guelph's often a city that comes up as being fairly popular, and our population's growing. But is this the right city for you? So Rob and I thought we'd put together a short video to explain what we believe are the top five pros and the top five cons of living in Guelph. So with that in mind, I'll just jump into a little bit more about the details. So first of all, why do you need to know this? The important thing, as I called it earlier, is that a real estate transaction is a big deal. Leaving your town is a big deal. So if you're considering moving to a new place, it's always nice to do some research about where you're going, and getting some information right from folks who live and work in the town is, I think, a great idea. So it's important if you're considering a move here, or if you're just thinking about buying here for investment purposes. Why would you want to be here, or why would you not want to be here in Guelph? With that in mind, maybe Rob, why don't we start off? Do you want to handle the pros this time?
Sure. Yep. I can
Okay,
handle the
great.
pros. Yeah. Guelph is always consistently ranked as a top city to live in Canada. Right now, we're ranked number eight. And some of the things to take into consideration for that ranking would be things like, low crime rate, low unemployment, the diversity within Guelph, the entertainment that the city has, amenities that cities have. There's lots of things that they take into consideration. And that's why Guelph is consistently ranked as one of the top cities to live in Canada.
You could almost
Uh,
like stop right there. You got it at number one, right? It's just good to go.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if you
but
need more reasons
yeah,
to to move to Guelph, the central location. We are a short drive to the
mhm,
GTA and cottage country as well. And if that's not enough, we're centrally located to Niagara Falls. If you wanted to visit the falls, some of the other major municipalities like Waterloo, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, London. We're all within a short drive of these locations.
yeah. I always
Um,
like going up to places like Sauble, that sort of Lake Huron. We're a lot closer to that than you might be if you were closer to Toronto. So it shaves quite a bit of time if you're going north.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And another one would be low unemployment rates. So right now, Guelph sitting at 4%, which is very low. And the Ontario average is 5.2. So we are below the Ontario average. There's always jobs here in Guelph, and you know, one of the largest manufacturers. We house one of the largest manufacturers in Canada with Linamar. With the automation, auto uh,
Right. Yeah,
manufacturing.
them and there's a bunch of their divisions and all that, right? Not to mention the university. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, and that's right, in the university. Good point. And speaking of university, so it's almost like you meant to do that, David. So yeah, we've got a top-notch university. Guelph is always ranked top five in Canada as a university. It's agriculture and vet clinic, but that's what it's known for. But there's so much more. And we certainly see it during the years when the students are here. You notice when the students are here. You notice when the students are gone. And I'm sure you're going to get into that a little bit later, David.
Yeah, I sure will. I sure will.
So, and then lastly, there's several reasons, several other reasons, but a fifth reason might be, the downtown and entertainment that Guelph has. We've got a large, diverse amount of restaurants. There's no shortage if you're looking for, Thai, Indian, whatever it is that you're looking for, we've got it. The Sleeman Center. So if you wanted to catch a Guelph Storm game or some other entertainment like a circus or something like that, Sleeman Center's always got stuff going on, free skating as well. And the River Run Center. So Guelph is very much an arts city as well. We've got the River Run Center. You want to catch some sort of theater performance, or even just to go in there and look at the building itself. It's great. Those are just some of the pros
Yeah.
of moving to Guelph. And
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
why we would need to go into cons of moving to Guelph. Just move to Guelph. But
Yeah,
if you really want, some reasons maybe that you might not want to move to Guelph, David's going to David's going to bring that up.
yeah. I'll debate on behalf of the cons side for moving to Guelph. Not
Yeah.
that I necessarily think you shouldn't, but I think it's important for you to be fully informed. So, reasons to not move here would be things like, first of all, you have to call it out that relative to other cities, pretty close to us, real estate in Guelph is a little bit more expensive. So, if you're looking to compare Guelph versus some places in, say, KW and Cambridge, or even as far as, say, Brantford or some of the areas, sort of within 45 to an hour from here, with the exception of maybe, Milton and getting closer to Toronto, we are relatively more pricey than some of the towns around here. And so, as far as value goes, you do get great value from some of the things that Rob mentioned, but you do pay in a lot of cases a little bit more, especially in depending on the location that you are in town. So that's why it's so critical to get connected with the right realtor that's going to help you to find those areas, right, Rob? So
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, very very important. So speaking about locations and in being in town and comparing it to the big city, distance to the 401. When I moved to Guelph, we've been here about, gosh, it's pushing 15 years now. But areas like the South End, you might be 5 to 10 minutes. If you're south of University or down Clare Road, you're going to be really close to the 401 if you're commuting or if you like to go into the GTA often. But as much as you think that Guelph is right on the 401, it's actually really not in a lot of ways. And so where we are in Guelph, like I'm 22 minutes, pretty much on a good day to the 401, and we're not in the super north end of Guelph, like we're out in the east end. So if you don't have quick access to the Hanlon, or if you're in the north or east end, basically, be prepared that that trip to the 401 is a little bit longer than you might think, and it puts you really in comparison with places like Cambridge as far as distance to Toronto. Even though we're 20K or whatever closer down the highway, that time can make a difference if you're going down there every day. So something to think about for sure if you're commuting. Speaking of commuting, this is more for pleasure, but it also for work. Transit service. So Guelph is happy to be able to have a GO train service. I think the service is not horrible. I think a lot of people would say that it's not the worst, but it's definitely not where we'd love it to be as far as two-way all day. If you're like looking to go into this big city going to Toronto for a game or entertainment or whatever, depending on the time of day and depending on the day itself, your options to get into Toronto are fairly limited. And so, having a car and driving in and going through that still can be a little bit painful in some cases. So it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're not going there all the time, but it's something to know about. Check the schedules and feel comfortable with the amount of transit that's available before you get too far down the process. And number 4, reason to not be here. You talked about this a little bit earlier, but as much as University Town is a great place to live, there's lots of additional jobs available. There's lots of additional entertainment and other options. The downside is there's a lot more students, and not to say that they're all the same, or you wouldn't want to live near students, because students can be amazing neighbors and they do a lot for our city. But the truth is, not every family, not every person who buys here wants to live near students or in an area that's very heavily dense with student type housing. So be aware of that, is that you're going to have a big influx. I think Robbie talked about a big influx of students coming in around orientation week. Parts of the city closed off for a couple of days while they let the students move in, and then in the summer they sort of clear out. So you will see that ebb and flow every year, and it is noticeable. I mean, Guelph is not a massive city. I think around 130,000 if I recall right, but the students can make a big difference because it's a fairly large university relative to the town size. So
Have a good realtor that can tell you where all the students are living.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
key,
Not
right?
not a sales pitch, but true. Like, it really is
Yeah.
true. If you don't know the areas, and you're getting a great deal because maybe you're out of town and you're not sure, and this seems like a great location, certainly do some homework. And we always talk about getting local expertise to help you. So yeah, know where
That's
you're
great.
buying and be aware of that, because this might be a plus for you, but I think in general it's something that a lot of families may not want to be super close to all that noise and traffic. So yep, that's for sure a con in my opinion.
Yeah.
And last but not least, the weather conditions in the winter. Being part of the snow belt, Guelph will get a little bit different weather than you might have received where you're from, especially if you're coming in from Toronto or somewhere along Lake Ontario. You might find your temperatures or your snow a little bit more mild. I don't think it's drastically different versus some of those places, but it is noticeable in a lot of years. So you don't have to go too far north of Guelph to be in places where they will close the roads in certain situations, and it's fairly common. So just be aware the weather might be a little different than where you're coming from. We still do get a fair amount of snow in some situations this year. We've had a couple break snowfalls. So just be aware that all this ties in. So as far as cons, I think that these aren't necessarily deal breakers, but it may mean that one of these things just crosses Guelph off your list. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, yeah, exactly. So
Summers would be a little bit different too, right? So,
yeah, I
um,
think
you know,
so. I think so. I think so. But yeah, so with that in mind, Rob, like, what do people need to know if they want to go from here? That sums up most of the pros and cons that we prepared.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, these are the pros and cons of maybe, if you're looking to make a move to Guelph. So our contact information's here. Feel free to give us a call, drop us an email, follow us on our social media platforms, and we love doing these videos, and we hope you're watching them. And if you have any ideas or suggestions of videos that you'd like done, just feel free to reach out to us, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.